Hey, what's up, friend? Welcome to my room. This is where I live. This is where I work. I do leave my room sometimes, but I spend a lot of time in here and I totally love it. I've made this room into a space that feels good for me. And you're just looking at the working end of it, the behind the scenes. This is kind of a behind the scenes video real quick. My name is Matt. My YouTube channel is Mojo Kiss. I'm a musician, I'm a photographer. I am sort of a sailor and a van lifer. So I don't know why I do all those things, but that's just what I do. And for now, I am living in this live work space sort of thing, and I I haven't really talked a lot about that, like what where I live and what I live like. And I mean, I still have my van. I have a van. I don't have a motorcycle or a boat or anything else like that right now. I've sold all of those things. I have a van. I built a motorcycle a couple years ago, and then I had a boat sitting out there, and then I had my van. I've simplified, and I went on a trip in my van out west and did this camping stuff and all this music out there. Loved it. That was a great experience, and I've come back home to Florida, and I've upgraded the van now because of the things I learned. I was like, oh, I need this, I need this, I need this. I had a little bit of money at one point just from a few gigs, and so I upgraded the van while I had the chance because I was like, I know I'm going to want to go out there and do that again, and I want to have the van nice and ready when I do it. That's something to look forward to for me. And coming up right now, summer's coming up here in Florida. It gets hot. I don't really like the heat. Maybe I'll acclimate to it this year. I don't know. But I'm trying to work on a lot of music. I'm sorry, excuse me. My voice is it's shot right now. Really focusing in on the music, and lately it's been about jazz and like jazz solos and like making tablatures and making those available to the community. Real big on that right now. Super happy about that. I was kind of looking into like what's social media, what's trending, how does all this stuff work? And I've kind of come to the conclusion that I already know what I want to do. Um, and I'm just going to do it. And I'm not just depending on social media, I don't think, for all this stuff. So I'm not really concerned. I'm not worried. I know what I like doing now, which has taken a while for me to discover. And so I'm really happy. I'm really looking forward to what I'm doing, with music, with my content, with making sort of music instruction, guitar instructions, because I do unique guitar chord melody arrangements. I have my own style, and people are gracious enough to be interested in having tablature. Same goes for the banjo. I write I write arrangements for banjo and all that stuff. I think that's pretty cool. So that's like the educational field, which is I think has very low barriers of entry. There is a lot of competition, but there's also a lot of demand, and there's many niches within music education or music instruction. There's this guy named Mel Bay. He wrote most of the books that you see in music stores for beginners. They're just like the standard guitar, like you'll see him, Mel Bay. And he started like the whole popularizing, like, this is a beginner guitar book, whatever. It had like a picture of Segovia in there, like with Segovia's hand, the way that he holds his hand, like all this stuff. And the cool thing is, I actually met Mel Bay. He was like 90 years old or something like that. I don't know how old he was. I was just like, there was this store. I think the store was called Mel Bay. And I mean, I had like looked at dozens of his books as a kid, and I was still a kid when I met him. And I have fond memories of that day. I met Mel Bay and I shook his hand. I think that's amazing. And here I am. Music and music instruction is so important to me. I've had lots of students here locally. Sad note, COVID shut down my music school. It wasn't my school, but I was there with other teachers. And that school had been around for like 50 years, and it shut down, maybe more than 50 years. And another friend of mine used to teach there when it first opened up. And so that happened. And then I had to let go of all my students, and I stopped teaching for years, and I still have stopped teaching until I've started doing this. And I'm moving more towards multimedia instead of like playing live gigs and teaching in person. I'm kind of moving away from those things, and I don't know what that means for the rest of the world, but I personally don't really like playing most of the gigs that I play. That's kind of a difficult thing to talk about, because you want to try to make things happy and fun for everybody that you work with, and you want to show appreciation, but there's also a high price to pay at times, like driving long distances, the trouble with parking and loading up, troubles with the stage is too small, or there's no stage and you're cramped, and the stage is so small that you have to be standing right next to your speaker, and it's right in your ear the whole time. Then you have to make sure you have your earplugs, and even then, not having a sound person to mix everything, and not being able to hear yourself, and maybe the people don't want to hear what you want to play that day. There's a lot. I mean, and it weighs on me and it bothers me. And sometimes the problem is, well, I'm also not getting paid enough for this gig, and et cetera, et cetera. So I'm kind of reassessing a lot. And this month of April was my month to just make those changes that I've been looking forward to, and starting to say no to gigs, or have a counter offer to certain offers that come my way. And that's been good. It's been a good step for me. It's been really good. But on the other side of that as well is me starting to work on, at home here in the studio, working on new material and everything that entails. Perhaps a new audience, perhaps more of my own act, which I've been doing. And so those things are coming along. Maybe a new acts, new bands, new duos, all this other stuff. Doing it more deliberately. I really like the idea of doing things deliberately. Designing. I really like the idea of designing. I'm not going to get all into that right now. That's just too much to talk about. So I just wanted to say, hey, this is my room. This is what it looks like, and this is me, and this is how I talk. And I drink a lot of coffee, and I try to drink enough water. I'm using my cheapest type of camera today because, well, this is the one I use almost all the time. It's just a GoPro 5. It's old, like 2015 or 16 or whatever. I have other cameras here, like my G7X MK2, and then my 5D Mark III. These two cameras have good visuals, and good optics, good sensors. We have a full frame sensor, and then this one's just good. I don't know how they made it good, but it's good. That's the Canon G7X Mark II. I just haven't been using those for this kind of stuff, because this is super quick and easy. Just plug it into the HDMI cable. It's got a clean HDMI out, and it's just good to go. So I don't know why I'm even saying that. I think it's because I'm not going to have like the most dramatically awesome picture from this, but it's very convenient and it gets the job done. And these other cameras, I have an opportunity to like make more in-depth videos and, sharp looking images, which I just haven't gotten there yet. I'm very new to sharing on YouTube. I've given it a shot a couple times before, and I was so new to it then that it was kind of ridiculous. All right. I did a poll asking, what do you want me to make more of? And there was 3 choices. One was more guitar tabs, which is like guitar tabs, guitar instruction, guitar arrangements, and demonstrations and explanations and lessons and things like that. So that was number 1. Number 2 was guest musicians in a podcast format. And number 3 was music videos with no talking. And at the time I checked it, number 3 had like 0 votes. Number 2 had the most, and that was a podcast with music guests. Number 1 was about more tabs, which was close behind. So as it stands, I want to make more tabs, which I was going to do anyway. But the optional was music guests in a podcast setting. I'm surprised people said that. I mean, I would love to do that, and I absolutely will do that. And I have some very interesting musician friends. I have a lot of musician friends. I don't really spend enough time with them to necessarily call every one of them my friend, but the local Facebook community, there's hundreds of musicians that I briefly know, and I think a few of them will be great as my first guests on like a podcast type of thing. And it's not going to look like this. The camera's going to be turned around, and this is the studio backdrop that I'm looking towards right now, which is just pretty much just kind of gray industrial with lights. So thanks for voting on that. Cool. I think I'm just gonna stop this right now. I mean, there's a lot that did I mention the hammock? I don't know. I've actually made this video a few times, and it just got kind of long. If I didn't mention it before, I sleep in a hammock. I think I talked about that, and I talked about the van thing, like getting rid of my passenger seat. These are things that are kind of recent emergence, things that have emerged in my life lately. And I talked about sailing, and I talked about going out west and doing music videos out west in the desert. I miss that so much, and I'm definitely gonna do that again. So this is just a little recap, and I don't think I mentioned that I play the violin, but I play the violin, and I repair instruments. I don't really do videos about the repairs because I'm focused on the repair. I'm not primarily a YouTube creator, thank God, but I do a lot of things that would lend themselves well as far as making videos and stuff. But I just don't, because that's not what I'm primarily doing. When I'm working on instruments, when I'm fixing instruments or whatever, I'm really focused on that. I'm focused on that. So if I'm making a video, I'm focused kind of on making a video, because it's a whole different mindset. And I'm having to learn how to write scripts. I know that sounds ridiculous. It's not scripted, but I wrote down some ideas to kind of remind me what to keep it on topic and things. Briefly, this is an instrument that I play, and this is a mandola ukulele. It's called a mandola ukulele because it has aspects of 2 different instruments. It's a ukulele body and ukulele style strings, but it's tuned as a mandola. All right, which is actually normally a slightly bigger instrument. So the strings are kind of flappy, and you might recognize the sound. The sound of the name is sounding like mandolin, and you can make mandolin-shaped chords, like the G chord, like this, and the C chord, however you make it. There's different ways to make a C chord, right? C minor, G minor, D minor, A minor, all that kind of stuff. Now, it's interesting because, if it was a ukulele, that would be cool. If it was a mandolin, that would be cool. But the ukulele is more like classical guitar, and that's more like what I'm used to. The mandolin is more like the violin, which is what I'm used to. So I can play like a violinist with this hand, and I can play like a classical guitarist with this hand. And so I have a lot of videos, like mostly shorts, of me playing different songs on this instrument or another instrument that's tuned like it that I also have, which is just another one, which is now broken. So this is like a big thing that I do, and I'm going to start making tabs for this. They didn't have the technology to really make tablature as easy as I would like, but I think that my program just finally, the program that I use just finally upgraded, and now you can create custom instruments to make tablature with, so that I can play Bach and like Depeche Mode was a fun one that people seem to like, and I want to make tablature for those things, and some will be free, some will be paid. So, all right, I gotta get the heck out of here. This was cool making this. I'm gonna get back and get focused. Take a walk around the yard. We had 5 peacocks in the yard today. I took some cool video and stills, and I posted those on my Instagram and on my Facebook. Matthew Mays on Facebook. Arcovera Music on Instagram. Yeah, that's where I posted some on Instagram. Yeah, follow my Instagram. Subscribe to me on here. Say stuff, whatever you want to say. I don't care. Say whatever you want in the comments. And all right, thanks for hanging out with me in my messy room. Get out of here. See you soon.